Hello and guten Tag, wie geht's alles? And you'll realise why I'm speaking German in just a moment. Here for the panel on our Euro 2024 coverage here on Gambling.com. I'm Alan McInally, your host. For all your coverage throughout the tournament here on the panels, as the knockout games are almost upon us in Germany, with unfortunately my beloved Scotland not getting there. We'll get to that for sure. It's time to me about a gracious host as Germany secured a late draw with Switzerland. Maybe they shouldn't have actually got a late draw on top of Group A, which I'm sure my guests will be, I would imagine, happy with. 3 Premier League titles with 2 different clubs. 29 times capped by Germany. I'm delighted to say, guten Tag, Robert Huth.
Guten Tag from sunny Manchester. How are you doing?
Yeah. How you doing, buddy? Listen, you must be pretty happy with the way things have gone. I mean, I spoke to a couple of lads about England not being particularly great, but topping the group, and so did Germany.
Yeah, I think that was the bare minimum, really, to get out of the group. It's almost impossible not to get out of the group these days with 3 qualifying or potentially 3 qualifying.
By the way, stop talking about Scotland so quickly in there. but you're right. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the bare minimum is reached. I think we started obviously really well with the win. Got the important second win to sort of qualify for the knockout, and then sort of finished with a bit of a disappointing game a couple of days ago against Switzerland. But the main aim was to get through, and now, as we all know, the tournament really starts.
Yeah, exactly right. We're going to get properly into that in a minute. Just a little bit of housekeeping, pal. It wouldn't be there, of course, without our sponsors. The panel in Gambling.com is brought to you by Winsane.com and Bitovo.com, our odds and betting partners for the Euros. And all the details you need to get involved with them throughout the tournament are on screen. Check them out for the latest match odds, specials, and more as the games get going this summer. That's thanks to Bitovo.com and Winsane.com. Right, big man. Pretty easy for you in the end. Certainly starting with a 5-1 victory, and you just mentioned beating Hungary 2-0. And then if you hadn't scored late on against Switzerland, then they would have topped the group and you wouldn't have needed to bother with Spain, Portugal, or France, I don't think. I don't know. How do you feel about that? Or do you just, we top the group, we take on the world?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to look at it. Once you start messing around with, where we're going to finish in the group, you know yourself, you play, once you're on the pitch, you want to win the game. You get all the different scenarios about, would it be better if we were on this side of the draw or this side of the draw? The second you step on that pitch and the whistle goes, you want to win a game. And I think that's, we'd see that at the end as well, because we could have lost the game and still qualified, but we kept pushing, and then ultimately got the draw, which meant we were first. And then the draw is what it is. You can't predict it. Who predicted Netherlands were going to finish third in their league, in their group. So you just can't predict. You just got to go get out there and just beat the team that's in front of you.
Well, that's just it. There's more negative in France today because they got beat and didn't top the group than there is obviously in Germany today, having only drawn against Denmark. Yeah,
you know what? I haven't been back home in Germany, and obviously listening to press here in the UK, every press is the same. It doesn't matter whether you're England, Netherlands, whatever. They're all kind of waiting for you to slip up, and they stick the hammer in and just give you a bit of the knife in, exactly, just to give you a bit of a hammering. So. At the moment, everything is a lot more positive for Germany because we're on a good run, but it just takes one bad performance and tables are going to turn, like we have seen with other nations.
Yeah, I was going to say, because I knew I was going to speak to you today, big man, I looked at, there was a poll in Germany, and I think there was about 200,000, somebody was telling me, that they wanted Fullkrug up top rather than Havertz. What camp are you in, Havertz or Fullkrug?
I love an old school number 9. Like that header against Switzerland,
Brilliant, wasn't
it? That's as good a header as it's going to get. And didn't really get too much mentioning, really, because I thought it was a sensational header. Just
the
forehead straight where it comes from, or headed it straight where it came from. Havertz obviously gives us a little bit more flexibility in terms of his movement. He can come short, he can spin.
It doesn't seem to affect the way Germany play. Either of them playing, to be honest, really, does it? Or does it?
I think with Fullkrug on, I think we do tend to put the ball in the box quicker. Yeah.
Get in, yeah.
think it just because he's such a powerful lad, and he's great at finishing, and he's like he's shown in the tournament already. I think it's a really nice problem to have these two options, because you can change them. Like I said, if we're desperate for a goal, and towards the end Switzerland sat really, really deep, we didn't really have any space, and we were able just to put the ball in the box and someone to head it in. That's a gift in itself to be able to do that, rather than just have that sort of plan A and a plan B, as to speak.
Yeah, and you know what it's like as a defender. If you stop someone like Fullkrug scoring, your confidence is through the roof. His on the other side, every time he comes on, touches the ball, it looks like it's going in the net. His confidence is sky high. It must be a really difficult problem for Nagelsmann not to actually want to start him and say, look, I'm just pulling you back a little bit, and then you can go when I bring you on.
Yeah, and I love his energy when he comes on. Like every time he gets sub, he runs on like he means business. Sometimes you see players when they come on and sort of jog on, and he's like, bang, let me get on, let me loose, basically.
Yeah.
And I think he's a great teammate. You don't hear any problems with him. You don't hear any any moaning that he's not playing. He understands his role in the team. He understands the bigger picture, because I think he could be right in asking to start a game. He's been
absolutely
prolific. I know Havertz scored with a pen, but ultimately, he's there to score. And I think it's a difficult situation for Nagelsmann to see how he's going to start against Denmark, because I think there's an argument for Fullkrug to start for sure.
I don't think there's any doubt that he starts, big man. Not that I've got anything against Havertz, but against Denmark and the way they've played against England, and having watched the games, I think Fullkrug he should be odds on to start. I really do. I'll be interested to see what we get on Gambling.com, especially with Botovo and Wynn saying what kind of price he would give me on that, because I think he's a certainty to start. I really do. Somebody else I want to talk about, and I don't know whether he's been not under the radar, but underwhelming. Florian Wirtz, subbed off every game. Is he being as dramatically fantastic as he thought he might be? Because he had a great season, didn't he?
Yeah, Jesus, had a fantastic season. Started the tournament really, really well. I thought, he got his goal, then he got another couple of chances against Scotland that he missed.
Yeah,
and it's kind of, I think, because
beyond that, the next two games, big man, I was like, go on then, go on, because everybody else seems to be at it, and I just thought he was bubbling under a little bit.
Yeah, he certainly the things he tried to pull off in a game didn't come off.
No,
doesn't help that Musiala is having an absolute ridiculously good tournament. So I think more eyes on him at the moment. But I think no, you're right in terms of after the Scotland game, I felt really, really confident about him being the top dog. Along with Musiala, he sort of kind of dropped off is probably not the right words, but I thought he would have pushed on and just keep going with his performances. But he's been a bit iffish.
Well, you mentioned that. We spoke about young player of the tournament here on Gambling.com with the panel. And Musiala, 94 favourite. Lamine Yamal, the young Spanish boy, 92. Florian Wirtz out to 61. He was as low as 4s and 72. Bellingham 7s. Nico Williams 12s as well, thanks to Bitovo.com and Winsane.com. Is the debate about the goalkeeper well and truly stashed away? I thought Neuer's been brilliant, because a lot of people thought that Ter Stegen would start.
Yeah, I mean, Nagelsmann put that discussion to bed, to be honest. Even months before the tournament, it was always going to be Neuer. There were question marks for sure. I think because Scotland never had a shot on target against in the first game, that really helped, because it would have been interesting to see, because it was the opening game of the tournament. Nerves do get better sometimes, the better of you. So it would have been interesting to see how he handled it against Hungary. I thought he did well. A couple of really good saves. And he's sort of building on that with each performance. We all know what he can do in terms of he can get you a win out of nowhere. He saves the unsavable wall sometimes, but also realistically, he's had a few cock-ups as well in the past. Which, well, that's the truth.
As a goalkeeper, you're never going to get rid of anything. Something's going to go wrong at one point, isn't it?
Yeah. But I think you're right. I think he's settled in now that the first game was so important for the whole debate not to get started about the keeper. So I know we scored an own goal. There's nothing he could have done with that. But I think that first game was so important for the mindset of the press, of the team, for it not to mess up.
I'm just looking at the German squad here, because the two players I'm going to mention next, Rudiger thinks injured, Jonathan Tah suspended, which means that's the back two, your main two centre backs from the first 2 games out. So I'm looking at, well, Mittelstadt's done well at fullback. I don't know whether Schlotterbeck, Heinrich, David Raum from Leipzig. I don't know. Who's your 2 centre-backs? Robert Huth, does he come in from Eintracht Frankfurt? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly got options. I do think Rudiger is going to be available. I think it's a niggle. But
so you just remind everybody, your game's on Saturday night against Denmark, is it?
Yeah, 8 o'clock you take UK time.
Yeah.
Rudiger might be available. I think if he's not, that's going to be a big upset, because he's a captain, even though he's not the captain. You can see he drives the team on, and he's that kind of that also on the pitch you want on your team. He's the guy that winds everyone up, and I mean in a really positive way. You want him on your team. You can see him digging the shoulder into the strikers, making sure the strikers knows he's there.
But I haven't seen any other team lose their 2 centre-backs, big man. That would be a real problem for Nagelsmann, surely. Yeah.
And I was surprised he played them, to be honest, because both of them were on the booking against Switzerland. Mittelstadt was on the booking, and Robert Andrich, he was on the booking too.
Yeah.
So he was very bullish in his press conference, Nagelsmann. He said, "No, I'm going to play them all, and then if they're going to get booked, we deal with it." I just think it's silly. If you can rest players, if you can avoid people being suspended, then you got your best players available for the biggest game now, because it's always going to be next game is the biggest game from now. And for him to play them at a risk, I think you shoot yourself in the foot. And now definitely is one suspended, and if Rudiger's out as well, I would definitely put on the back foot.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think then? Denmark coming up. I mean, I would imagine the majority of German fans would probably be quite happy with the way the draw's gone and giving you Germany.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of expecting it to be England, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
At one point, it looked a little bit like this. The one thing Germany never does is underestimate anyone. I think that's a really boring, dramatic answer, but we know what Denmark can do. And if you look through the squad, they've got some real quality. If you look through the spine, Kasper Schmeichel in goal, Vestergaard, Christiansen, Eriksen, Højlund up front, and Poulsen up front. They got some good players. They play in Germany. They played in the UK. They won Premier Leagues. They won Bundesliga titles.
And they've almost played like a 4-1. Can they play the 2 up top almost, haven't they, as well? Which is maybe not you see a lot of times in the international football.
Yeah, they're no mugs. They're absolutely. I mean, they haven't set the tournament alight. Certainly not yesterday. I mean, that was a pretty boring game.
Yeah.
But we've all had a game like this. So I think Denmark would look at Germany equally as thinking they got a chance against Germany, especially with on a suspension and maybe the injury. I think it's an equally balanced game, to be honest. I don't think Denmark are a rollover. We've seen them do well in the last couple of tournaments, beating bigger teams. So, and like I said, they have players that won things in the group, and they've got an unbelievable togetherness as a team.
I can't have you on the panel without asking you about England. What have you made it so far? And maybe more so the kind of criticism they've been getting, even though the end result of the 3 group games has meant they've finished on top. Yeah,
it's the typical English negativity, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
It's certainly not always look on the bright side of life, is it? It's always look at the right
look on the dark side, yeah.
Listen, if they're gonna perform like this for the next 4 games and win the Euros, no one's gonna give a single care. They're just not gonna care.
But in all seriousness, big man, if they play like that, they ain't winning the Euros, are they?
It's 2 ways to look at it. Yes, they have been underwhelming. I think that's a fair statement. I think they've been very passive. Just sharpness really. However, they got the job done, and that's a bit of a, when you don't play well and still get the job done, that's the kind of the positive way to look at it. And I think
absolutely.
Gareth will look at it like that. I think, well, we haven't been great. I think he's honest enough to say that. However, we've got it done. That's something to be built on. I know the press and people like you and me look at it differently, but I think in that camp now they'll be going, well, we've been pretty rubbish. Still pretty well.
As a Scotsman, big man, I've looked at England. Obviously, I don't want them to win it. Actually, being Scottish, for God's sakes. But at the same time, I'm looking at as a player's point of view, thinking, now hang on a minute. I should bring you in here before I give my tuppence worth. He was your manager at Borough. wasn't he? So was there any time when he was the manager at Borough you thought, can't believe he's playing him, or I can't believe we're playing this way, or really, Gareth? Are we going to win the game doing this? Because I don't think he knows he's starting 11, but I think he's fallen into something with the changes he made just last night that he might be forced to go, I think we have to go a little bit more. Play Palmer, play Mainu, play Gordon.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have disagreements with your manager in terms of, I mean, on a daily basis, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
I like being a bit more defensively. Personally, I've mentioned this to you before here. I think a solid defense will win you a title.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate block. Have they been too defensive? Yeah, of course they have. But then if you do play Palmer, is he as defensively open-minded to run back, to do the hard yards? So it's finding that middle ground. At the moment, it's not a great watch. I think the real kind of issue at the moment is the lack of sharpness, that they haven't got. I know yesterday when they scored the offside goal, that was a bang, bang in, sharp.
Yeah, it was.
Foden went in behind the line. I thought that now they're in the game, and they kind of dropped off again. And I just haven't had moments like this where, physically they're all in fantastic shape. I just can't understand. I know the weather has been hot in Germany, and many teams have struggled, but it just look a little bit not as sharp as they could be. I would always throw caution into the wind with defensively. I'd rather have a solid start with a 0 at the back, and then you go from there. I think that's my attitude. I can get it. If you're going to spend 1,000 euros to go to Germany and want to watch England play, you want to see goals, entertainment, But the evidence in the past couple of tournaments would suggest to go more defensive, because Gareth's always been defensive in all the tournaments, and you were one penalty away from winning the Euros, like one penalty, and they were still moaning then how defensive everything was and how boring it was, and you got to a European final one penalty away from winning it, and all of a sudden he was the worst. We should have opened up and attacked Italy with everything. You always forget there's two teams on the pitch. It's never just the one team. I think, and people do forget that sometimes, especially the English press, just think there's only one team playing.
Yeah, exactly. They want world domination. It looks as though they might get Holland, actually. It just depends the way the games finish off tonight. Okay, are you still happy then? Are Germany on target to go and win this thing? Hosts are the 2024 champions on the 14th of July in Berlin. Are you still quite happy?
Yeah. I think I was genuinely worried that we're going to get England, and I'm not being disrespectful to Denmark, hopefully. I think it's a beatable draw for us. I think we can go in there confident without having to change too much of our game plan. We don't have to make too many changes. For instance, if you played France, if you played Spain or Italy, I think we can sort of dominate the game like we had done in the first two games. Switzerland was a little bit different. But I think we're looking to get the possession and sort of try to cut Denmark open with quick, accurate passing. Yeah.
Well, here on Gambling.com with a panel on 2024 Euro coverage, we've got our sponsors with Betovo.com and Winston.com. Got the odds here, big man. 8-13 favourite you are, 17-4 for Denmark, 27-10. So only just short of threes for the draw. I think Odds On tells you all about it. Give us your best bet for Germany against Denmark. You think Germany's going to win, so I'll give you 50 quid. Give me a bet in the game.
But the score or anything?
Yeah, going to make it difficult for you. Give us a score.
I'll say 3-1 Germany and double for Fullkrug.
Oh, I love it. Actually, honestly, I think 8-13 is pretty decent. Actually, I think I may take a little bit of that because I think you're a good thing. I genuinely do, and I think you'll be in the next stages as well. Robert, vielen Dank. Auf den nächstes Mal. Just briefly, stay tuned to Gambling.com and the panel all summer. And thanks, of course, to our betting partners, Betovo.com and Winsane.com for supporting us with all the odds. Do check them out. Details are on the screen and in the show notes, wherever you are watching. If I was you, I'd take a little bit of the 8-13 Germany against Denmark. See you next time. Bye, guys.